Christmas tour.
You've inspired one little boy in particular, a very quiet boy, and as that rocket shot into the air, we heard the words blast off come out of his mouth.
Innovation, technology and dream rocketing up to the sky.
The state education system, we have a lot of people feel it's been narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, focusing on teaching and testing of highly academic subjects, which are important, which are right for some kids, but it's not for everybody. And some kids come out of the education system literally broken. 9 out of 10 schools in Britain have reported cutting the arts in some way or another. Real tragedy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Judging by your reactions, I think you can. Good. It's a joy to welcome you all to St. Peter and St. Paul's Church this evening. My name is Hugh Reed, and I'm the curate at this church. And I'm honoured and, I have to confess, a bit terrified that I can name among my predecessors as curate of this church, John Newton, who came to this church in 1764 to be curate. If I could match 1/10 of the things that he was able to do in his life, then I'd be very happy, and he leaves me with enormous shoes that I don't think I can ever fill. But this year in the church, we've been celebrating John Newton, and in particular his hymn Amazing Grace, perhaps his most famous achievement. And in fact, this year we celebrate the 250th anniversary of Amazing Grace, which was first sung in this church in 1773. And as we've celebrated this, we've been exploring some of the riches of this hymn that has inspired and touched so many people across different countries and across different centuries. And tonight, I'm delighted to say that we're going to continue to explore the richness of this amazing hymn. And we're delighted to be able to welcome John Patterson and the staff and students of St. Vincent's School in Liverpool, who've joined us and who will be working with the Olney Middle School to explore in music and various other creative forms some aspects of the legacy of this hymn. And we're really looking forward to what they'll do for us tonight. And I, for one, am very excited to see and hear everything that happens. And we're before I hand over to the Vice Lord Lieutenant of Buckinghamshire, who's going to say a few words, I just need to do a few quick safety announcements. The first thing to make you aware of is that we are being filmed for a live webcast. And if anyone is unwilling to be filmed, I believe you can avoid being filmed by moving to the side aisles, but provided that everyone is happy to be filmed, then we will be filming. Then the second thing to say is that there are 4 fire exits in the church. There is the door you came in by, and the door opposite that, the south door on the other side of church, is also open. There is a door at the back of church at the west end, which I'm pointing to now, and that is also open. And at the east end of church, there is a 4th door, which is open. So all of these churches, all of these doors are open in the event of a fire. The third thing to say is that there is a toilet, which some of you may already have discovered. That's just at the back of church by the west door through the double doors. And if I could also finally ask you to keep your mobile phones switched off or on silent, that would be very much appreciated. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to the Vice Lord Lieutenant of Buckinghamshire.
Here this evening, and we are a big group of people, and the first thing I want to do is to do some introductions. I'm Alexander Boswell, and I'm here this evening representing your monarch, King Charles III, because he can't be here. He knows it's a very special evening, so he sent me along to make sure things go okay. Now, it's a special evening this evening because we have St. Vincent's from Liverpool. Can I hear a hello from all the people from Liverpool, please? Well done. And let's see if we can get a good call and hello from Olney. Well done. And we've also got somebody from Newport Pagnell. We've got the Mayor of Newport Pagnell, Paul Day, and his consort. Well done. Well done. It's a really special evening this evening because we've got so many distinguished people here. And we have got people who have travelled all the way from Liverpool. And particularly, I want to thank John Patterson and his staff, particularly Bernadette, for bringing these wonderful people down, and we're going to have a most interesting evening with them. So thank you, pupils of St. Vincent's, for coming down, and I hope you enjoy your first visit to Olney. And then thanks to the headmaster and staff at Olney Middle, thank you so much for doing all you have for St. Vincent's. It's a fantastic thing that you've done. 2 days, I think, isn't it? Wonderful. And then I'd just like to thank also the trustees and staff of the Cooper and Newton Museum, in particular Amanda Mulcher and Chris Madley, who've been kind enough to put this event together and have been the brains behind it. So welcome everybody. Now this evening is inspired by John Newton, and we've heard a little bit from Hugh, who spoke so well just a moment ago about John Newton. He was vicar of this church. And before that, he was a very bad man. He was a man who ran a slave ship, taking slaves from Africa across the Atlantic to the New World. And those slaves were kept in terrible conditions. And when the slaves were delivered to the New World, they never ceased to become slaves. Just imagine that. Imagine a life of drudgery, often in chains, suffering. So that's why when John Newton had a conversion, it meant so much, because here was the baddest man around, and yet suddenly he discovered an inner vision. And this evening is about vision. St. Vincent's know about vision, but your knowledge of vision is a completely different knowledge of vision to Olney Middle's knowledge of vision. And John Newton's vision was completely different to anybody else's here today. He wrote, "I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see." Now, St. Vincent's has been looking after children with impaired vision since 1850. And it's been doing a wonderful, wonderful job. It draws children from all over the country. I think it's a Church of England establishment. Catholic, forgive me. It's a Catholic establishment, but it's church anyway. We got that bit right. Okay. But anyway, it is a faith establishment. And what St. Vincent's have been doing, which is truly remarkable, is they have taken their disadvantage in life and they've turned it to their advantage, because they've said, we can see something which nobody else can see. We have a real vision. And so they've created something which they call Sightbox. And I hope we hear about Sightbox this evening, all the details about it. But basically, it's a box of things to entertain and draw together groups of people with partial vision all over the world. And Sightbox is actually doing frightfully well. It is going all over the world. And I saw a little film clip of it arriving in Ghana. And the Ghana kids just loved the things that these kids had set out to them. And now the latest thing is that St. Vincent's have turned their attention to climate change. And they know more about climate change in a particular way than all the rest of us. And they have produced an animated video, which I hope we're going to see a little bit this evening, which is called The Magic Bench. And I do hope we do see some of that, because it is a great initiative, and it is actually spreading the word about climate change in a completely different way. The kids of St. Vincent's actually went to COP26 and presented their ideas to that conference, which is really special in my opinion. So here we have two ideas of vision. We've got clear vision with Olney, we've got impaired vision with St. Vincent's, and we've got John Newton, who suddenly had a revelation. I was blind, but now I see. What he was saying was not about sight, it was about insight. Insight. And that's what St. Vincent's have. Now, I want to do a little experiment with Olney Middle, if that's all right with you people. I want you to just tell me where you see from, to start with. Just point to where you see from. And I can see everybody pointing at their eyes. And then I want to know where you hear from. Everybody is pointing at their ears. Now here's a little bit more difficult. Where are your feelings? You're all pointing at your heart. Now think about yourselves and tell me where your consciousness, where is your consciousness? It's a little bit less confident. Okay, try closing your eyes and then tell me where you are hearing me. No, where you are receiving me. It's difficult. It's here. It's here. Your consciousness is somewhere in here. It's very difficult to understand. But I tell you something, if you become aware of that consciousness, that opens a complete new world to you. And that's the world that St. Vincent's live in, because they have a vision which is based on here, in the middle of the forehead. It's not unique, because all across the world there have been cultures that have talked about having a third eye in their forehead. And that's not a real third eye, don't believe it. They sometimes draw a third eye, but it's not a third eye, it's where your consciousness is. And so we draw these ideas together. We have St. Vincent's who have their vision. We have you who have your vision. We have John Newton, 250 years ago, in this church, singing for the first time, "I was blind, but now I see." What a fantastic group of people. What a fantastic insight. I represent the King this evening. The King is a climate campaigner, just like St. Vincent's. If he was here this evening, he would be so proud of the message they put across. So tonight, let's share this real vision of St. Vincent's. Let's concentrate on that. Let's remember John Newton, remember that third eye, and concentrate on this inner vision, this real vision that St. Vincent's had. And like John Newton, gain new awareness of our place in the world and the way our world is, and the way our world is changing. And by the end of this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we'll all be singing, "We once were blind, but now we all see." Thank you.
Is my mic working? Yeah. Vice Lord Lieutenant, that was a beautiful reflection. Thank you. It was both kind and beautifully well put. Thank you. That meant a lot to us all. It's wonderful to be in Olney, got it right, with the Cooper and Newton Museum, our scouts and the community. And you know what? We've had a great 2 days. And it's been really something wonderful. Planting seeds of hope, which are our wildflower seeds, mixed in with His Majesty the King's, up in your new orchard, and planting a tree. How wonderful. But you know what? More importantly, there is a beautiful acorn that's been born between Olney and St. Vincent's with Olney Middle School. Because we were in school today and we were learning all about visual impairment. and vision. We saw all of the things that children in St. Vincent's are doing all over the world. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful, lasting, sustainable collaboration. But we're going to take you this evening on a bit of a journey. We're going to take you on a road to Damascus journey. Now, in the road to Damascus, Paul, he's struck blind by God, and he's struck down for 3 days. So we're going to have 3 days here going through what we're doing. No, we're going to have a short time together. How better to kick off the road to Damascus by a piece put together by Beat Life Liverpool, a samba drum group in Liverpool that worked with their drums to put some music together. You're going to see it from our chapel in St. Vincent's. Starts off by the cello with Matthew Phillips. Are you ready for Road to Damascus in a musical reflection? Here we go. Beat Life Liverpool. Well, it should be a big bang there, but imagine it. So, those who may remember the liver birds, are you dancing? You're asking. If you don't feel like dancing after that, and it's definitely woken us up in this heat. Did you like that? See, our story really begins in 2015, where I know we've been here nearly 200 years, but we decided to leave a lasting legacy for those who lost their sight in the Great War. And we flew out to Ypres and we laid wreaths by the city of Liverpool. I'm going to come to that in a moment. But what we said was, we believe things can change. And things can change for children with a visual impairment, because at the moment it stands at 85% unemployment for those with a visual impairment. 85%, but not out of St. Vincent's, because we've got vision. So we're going to be talking, yes, about vision. We're going to be talking about sight. We believe we can change things because we're not talking about it, we're doing it. We're walking the talk. That's a big difference. And we wrote a song about it, which, funnily enough, in the commemorations of the Great War, won the Never Such Innocence competition. Would you like to hear, I believe we can change? Thank you. Emily, are we ready for our troops? Come on out. Your mic is right there. Okay. I was just about to start humming but then fire one.
I look around the world and all I see surrounding me is negativity, conflict, war, and broken dreams. We fight each other in our neighborhoods and lust for words. We all hold the key, and all we really need is
share laughter, come together, learn from the past, take care of each other and give peace a chance.
I believe we can change. I believe we can change. No matter what they say. I believe we can change. Will you help me be that mustard seed to grow the path? Working together to make the earth a better place. We live in unity, we all unite, we all hold the key, and all we really need is
share laughter, come together, learn from the past, take care of each other and give peace a chance.
I believe we can change. I believe we can change. No matter what they say. I believe we can change.
Although I am visually impaired, I can lead the way. My voice can be heard, and I can bring others together. I may not see you well, the color of your face or the clothes you wear, but I can help the world find peace by my example.
I believe we can change. I believe we can change. No matter what can change. I believe we can change.
Peace is coming.
I believe we can change.
Peace is coming.
No matter what they say.
Peace is coming. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Peace is coming.
Yes. Very proud of you. Oh. Thank you, girls. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, thank you. So our song with Never Such Innocence, Lady Lucy French, all part of our commemorating sight loss in the Great War. What were those key messages there? I can be a mustard seed and make changes in the world, and that's what we need. That's what we need in climate action. That's what we need for employment. Great ideas, and the ideas that came out of Olney today were amazing. Who learned that song? You see, if we keep an eye on each other and our peripheral vision, who's in our peripheral vision? Who can we bring into? Did you notice these jumping up with the verse? Thank you for being those mustard seeds together and joining in. There's our acorns already starting to flourish and grow. I believe we can change. Creativity is a big key. Having ideas and getting your mustard seeds to work together. I like that. Within where we see people in our peripheral vision. Oh, by Jove, there's a man playing with my back pocket. The Archdiocese of Liverpool have just beamed in to say, well, so that's Joan McCarthy has just beamed in from Liverpool to say every blessing from all the schools in Liverpool. That's Joyce. Thank you very much indeed for sharing that. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to have to put my better glasses on because to keep an eye on that screen. Thank you. We're going to move on to something a little bit now. We're going to go more into creativity. And we're going to look at comics that we put together. Purposely, a very sighted medium. We put 7 comics together with 7 key messages of love and joy and justice and peace. And we wrote a story about 7 key themes. And it was so good. Joe read it at the United Nations in New York. How good is that? All the way to the UN in New York. And he read his story, The Journey for Peace. 7 comics, which we've shared only for you to use in your citizenship lessons. Would you like to see what those 7 messages are? Thank heavens you do. What we'd like to see now, magically on that screen, is a little video. Here are the 7 messages. Oh, what I forgot to say. Each message is shared by a really iconic statue in Liverpool. So the Liverbirds share one of those messages of peace. Ken Dodd's, Sir Ken Dodd, loved him. His statue shares one of those messages of peace. Please play the video, Nick.
We today join Sidebox and St. Vincent in the journey for justice and peace. Wish you all the best and God bless you. Thank you.
12 notes, we put them together in the right way, and sometimes we can just change the world a tiny little bit.
It's in the sync, but you get how that works. That was mid-yaw at the end. Who remembers mid-yaw? Feed the world. What we did, yes, we sent our comics all over the world, but we sent them with something else. We sent them with some action. We're going to come on to that action in a moment. But those messages of love and joy and justice, we asked children all over the world to write songs about love and joy and justice. And we all joined together. So what you saw there, children across the Commonwealth and beyond, children in China, in Indonesia, and Malawi, and Tanzania, and Ethiopia, and Pakistan, all joined together and joined us on a webcast as we sang those connective messages, just like we're doing now. But this is much, much bigger, because it's got a very powerful message of amazing grace that we're going to come on to. What I'd like to happen, magically, whilst you're on the floor, is the next slide. Otherwise, I'm going to be doing the tap dance. It looks like the tap dance, everyone.
The problem is the video there is 30 seconds behind what everybody in the room is having. So I'm just sorting out.
Okay, so what we'll move on to then, which we'll see in a moment, is the sight box. I would like to think you've seen a whole range of creativity there. Olney, did we do a load of creative things in school today? We did music, thank you, Emily and Troops. We did story writing. We did mobile, all creativity. And I believe our young people have the most limitless creative imaginations. And those creative imaginations, and as vision you talked before, and insight, gives our children the best possible opportunities to design things for other visually impaired children using that creative imagination, that insight and lived experience. So we've designed loads of equipment that can help children access education and access sports, designed and made in Liverpool. For instance, if you're visually impaired and you want to go for a run and you want to train, how are you going to go for a run? So we designed a running line. We designed what's called a boccia grid. Best way to boccia, but it's like bowls for the visually impaired. Equipment to access sports and education. It's put in a physical box, and it's called a sight box. And we've sent that sight box to 20-odd countries: Pakistan, India, Rwanda, Gambia, Ethiopia, Tanzania. Wow, the list goes on and on and on, and it's growing. And we've been blessed. Anybody heard of Rotary? Yeah. Rotary, it's a volunteer organization, have bought those boxes from all over the world and helped us send them out of Liverpool to the Commonwealth and beyond. And our children are using information technology, IT, technology, to teach other children in Malawi and around the world how to use the content. How good is that? It's pretty unique and it's very exciting because our children are coming up with the ideas and they're leading on it. It's called reverse inclusion. That's what you had today in school. We were included, but we were leading on the ideas. That's Sightbox. But there's more to it. There's the ET box. And you might think, ET phone home. It's the Eileen Tamlin box. And that is designed, the guy who designed it is actually here this evening from Silver and Rose in Liverpool. It's a box that enables children with albinism to have their eyes tested. And we can get Liverpool glasses, prescription glasses, that need to be sunglasses to children with albinism in the middle of nowhere. And if you've read anything about albinism in some countries, it's not a good life. And I'll tell you what it's about at a later time. So we've got sight boxes, we've got ET boxes, designed and made, sent around the world. Has anybody heard of the Lions? Yeah, the Lions are buying the ET boxes. So what a wonderful opportunity for people in the UK to all work together, because we've got a connected vision. That's what we're going to talk a little bit more about in a moment. Now, Nick, I'm hoping the next slide will be a little bit of Sightbox, perhaps. Okay, Sightbox, moving forward. ET box, could you go to the next slide? Okay. What the children in our choir decided, how could they reflect a little bit of Sightbox and ET box? What they chose are 2 songs. Let It Be. I woke up to the sound of music. That's what's connecting us. Mother Mary came to me, speaking words of wisdom. Let It Be. And it's a good Liverpool song as well. So, are you ready, St. Vincent's Choir, to give your all with Let It Be? Okay, stay up once we're up because we've got 2 songs.
Myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. There is still a trace of mercy, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in a world weary, there will be an answer, let it be. Though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. Let it be. To the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, words of wisdom let be.
Well, thank you.
You're
Girls,
saying
we'll
it.
sit down. We're going to move around a little bit. Lads, we'll sit down. What I'll do is we're going to move things around a little bit. There's a bit of feedback, so it's actually hard to hear at the front there. So we'll sit down, we'll come back in a minute. Who's on then? Okay. There will be an answer, and a big answer to that is how we work together and let our mustard seeds grow together. So you've got an idea of the sight box, you've got an idea of creativity. We're going to move that forward to how we're doing something for climate action. Nick, is the next slide available to come on? Okay. We know that we took our wildflower seeds to COP26 and we showed the actions and the things that we're doing about climate action. Those seeds that we brought to Olney today and sowed with His Majesty the King's out on the allotments are all part and parcel of showcasing how we can work together. So we've made a series of comics called The Magic Bench. And The Magic Bench runs on the same idea of working together and collaborating. I'd like to show you a little snippet of The Magic Bench now that we showed in Olney Middle School today. You ready for a little bit? Here it comes, Magic Bench.
In a park on top of a hill, the magic bench appears once more. Come, take a seat. The bench has a story to tell. The Earth is a beautiful planet, home to such a diverse variety of plants and animals. But the Earth is in trouble.
We are creating too much pollution. Emissions of greenhouse gases from our cars and factories wrap around the Earth like a blanket, causing our planet to heat up. The Arctic is impacted more than any other place on Earth. Global warming is melting the Arctic sea ice that polar bears and other marine life depend. The ice caps are slowly melting, causing sea levels to rise. There's flooding in many towns and cities by the sea. In other parts of the world, rising temperatures.
Did you get a flavour of that? Yeah? So although our children might be able to see those comics, they can certainly manage artists to do their vision. That's what we've been doing. And today, we've agreed with Olney Middle School not only to do another animation, but we're going to do Magic Bench 4. We've told you what we're doing in Liverpool. And in the comic that we've shared, the things that we're doing. We want to hear from Olney. What are you doing? And I know you're doing loads. And what can you share with Liverpool? How can we all work together to make those mustard seeds grow? St. Vincent's, because of that work, is now national leads for Let's Go Zero, which is all about carbon reduction. So we've got even more ideas that we can network across the UK. Sounds like we're in. Everybody agreed from Olney? Are we still up for that? Fantastic. Are we still up for that, St. Vincent's?
Yeah.
Most definitely. So big reflection here is these wildflowers of all beautiful colors. And the children wanted to reflect that in the music. They've chosen, can you remind me of it?
True colours.
True colors. They've reflecting on all the wildflowers. What are your colors? What colors have you nailing to the mast? Is it for climate and biodiversity action? I sure hope so. So we're going to sing, and I hope it all syncs. True colors. Come on out again, St. Vincent's, okay? Step over that one. Now you won't quite hear, there's a strange feedback just, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You with the sad eyes, don't be discouraged till you realize it's hard to take courage in a world full of people. You can lose sight of it all, and the darkness inside you can make you feel so small. And I see your true colors shining through, and I see your true colors. That's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. Show me a smile and don't be unhappy. Can't remember when I last saw you laughing. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all that you can bear, you call me up because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through, and I see your true colors. That's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow. If this world makes you crazy and you've taken all that you can bear, you call me up because you know I'll be there. And I see your true colors shining through, and I see your true colors. That's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors, true colors are shining through, and I see your true colors. That's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful like a rainbow.
Well done indeed. You okay with Emily or Tom? Okay. My goodness, that was beautiful. Thank you very much indeed. I'm going to give a little bit of a reflection. I'm going to give my reflection on without a vision, the people perish. I'm going to talk a little bit about vision. I'm going to talk a little bit about sight. I'm going to talk about 3 people who were blind. 2 blinded and 1 blinded by his involvement with the slave trade. I wonder who that could be. Let's have a look at those 3 people. It starts off with blind Bartimaeus. Blind Bart, all the Gospels. And the Lord meets him, and the Lord says something to him. How can I help you? This is a blind man. He does not presume he wants his sight back. He asked him first. And it's something that we should all take a lead from. He gave him choice and a voice. Choice and voice. When we've been listening to a lot of Amazing Grace 250, was choice and voice removed from people all those years ago? Yes, it was. We need to be giving choice and voice to our young people. There's blind Bart. The second person was struck blind. Paul, Saul. He was struck blind because he'd been persecuting the Christians, and he struck blind for 3 days. What do you think he learned in those 3 days? What do you think he reflected on when he was visually impaired? Blind. But he got his sight back. What insight do you think he came back with? Have a think about that one. The third is Newton himself, who wrote the hymn, was blind, but now I see. He's talking about that spiritual blindness, that he repented of his actions. What insight did he then have? Because there's a key that connects all of these three people, and that key is God's amazing grace. It is a special love, and it's a love given freely. You don't earn it. God gives you it. And each of those people came back with something, a vision and a mission. My goodness, didn't they do their missions and visions well? Do you think you saw St. Vincent's vision and mission this evening and in middle school today? Did you see it? Amen. Thank goodness. Yes, our vision and mission is to generate opportunity and employment for visually impaired young people all over the world, out of Liverpool, out of the UK. And we're doing something about it. We're doing something with the sight boxes, the ET boxes, and most definitely climate and biodiversity action, which is where the new jobs and innovation and ideas are going to be. Your mustard seeds, our mustard seeds, joining together can really do something. That's what we've shared in our comics. Final point. Martin Luther King said something that's always stuck in my mind. He dreams of a day when his children will be judged on the contents of their character, not the color of their skin. We'll all know that quote. What we said today, we might not be able to see what color you are, but you know what? We treat you equally. We have something to learn from the VI community. We have something powerful to learn from them. And I'm very proud of my pupils today. Last point. In Luke, he says, can a blind person lead another blind person? They'll fall into a ditch. My answer this evening is, yes, they can. Have you seen that today? Can our visually impaired and our blind children lead you in innovation and ideas? Yes. And that is a message that we can share to the world. So for me, Amazing Grace, God's amazing love, there is a fantastic new acorn, new mustard seeds that have joined here in Olney. And that is a legacy that we take on to the world together. Thank you for being part of that, all of us together. I've loved being so welcomed in Olney. Let's see what happens in the future. I think it's an exciting one. Amen. Amen. So a big clap for St. Vincent's. So to seal that, as we're working with impaired children all over the world, our Muslim brothers and sisters in Pakistan and Malawi and Ghana and Gambia, there's all sorts of things happening. How cool would it be if we all joined together in singing Amazing Grace? So what we have is we have the Olney children, who in a moment, you're going to come up. We've got St. Vincent's pupils in a moment, who are going to come up. And in Liverpool, we've got the Resonate Choir. The Resonate Choir sang for His Majesty the King and Queen Camilla at their visit to Liverpool, and sang at the Eurovision, and they sang together, and they are represented also. So we've got the whole of Liverpool represented in a choir. We've got St. Vincent's and Olney, and it links into something very special in this way. I said we started our lasting legacy in 2015. So we were gifted wreaths by the Lord Lieutenant, the High Sheriff, Liverpool and Everton football clubs, and we took them out to Ypres. Here is the sealing of Liverpool connecting with Olney through Amazing Grace. And if it all works together, that is the video that's going to be pumped out around the world. And I know friends and colleagues are watching and are going to join in with us. Are we up for singing it together? Okie dokie. Olney, can you come out, St. Vincent's? And when we're tickety-boo, Nick, we're going to press the big play button.
Say hi to the microphone. Hi.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Okay. You sit down. Well done indeed. By Jove, was that a road to Damascus journey? I think so. Thank you so much, Olney. Thank you so much, St. Vincent's. Absolutely beautiful. The last message, please. Mine is, together, we can go beyond.
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, and that was beautiful. It was wonderful to experience that in this church this evening, and just wonderful to hear much from so many people. It's really been a joyful night, and I'm thoroughly grateful to St. Vincent's and to Olney Middle School, to the Vice Lord Lieutenant, and to all of you who've been part of this tonight. We truly have been blessed by your presence here. And so the final words perhaps should go to John Newton himself. And as I've said, we've been blessed by your presence. Let's finish tonight with the words of a blessing that John Newton wrote himself, the blessing that we call the Olney blessing. And so, may the grace of Christ our Saviour and the Father's boundless love, with the Holy Spirit's favour, rest upon us from above. Thus may we abide in union with each other and the Lord, and possess in sweet communion joys which earth cannot afford. May God bless you all, and thank you for being here tonight.
I believe it's pancakes in the village now.
No, it's not.
Oh, right.
However, just give us 2 tips, and there are sandwiches and cakes and crisps and drinks all at the back as well. 2 tips because we put them into the fridge. And we just need to get them back out. And thank you so much again.
What a lovely evening here in Olney with our scouts and local community planting this tree, brought from Liverpool, grown in West Derby where Liverpool began, with local trees. This is an acorn, this is an oak tree, and it's going to be planted here by visually impaired young people, all part of Amazing Grace community, to just get together, share a bit of love. A massive thanks to Olney. How lovely it's been. We've been so welcomed, or should I say Olney? Oh, but it's been lovely. Welcome. Thank you very much indeed, Cowper Newton Museum. Thank you very much indeed, St. Peter's and St. Paul's. All a big part of Amazing Grace 250. But there's something very special here. Thank you very much indeed for our allotments organisers. I'm thinking, what was it? Sorry? Growing Minds. I love that. This is a very special place here, and this is a very special piece of history. For years, we've been growing wildflowers, and we've been helped by a group called Scouse Flower House, okay? And he's a world leader in wildflowers out of Liverpool. How mad's that? And he advises the Eden Project. So we've been planting these wildflowers, and we've been harvesting them. Now, this is where it gets super exciting. The first packet of our wildflower seeds went to our late Queen Elizabeth, and she acknowledged it. We sent a packet to Yoko Ono, and she acknowledged it, and we sewed them in John Lennon's former home. And the third packet went to His Holiness the Pope, who gave us a letter back. And the hand-harvested seeds are in this bucket, that you're going to get the same seeds that came from those batches, but there's something else we're going to add. We all got seeds, wildflower seeds, of His Majesty the King. Did you get any here in Olney? So we're going to mix in the Scouse ones with the Scouse seeds, and it's a super mad mix that's going to be planted just here. So I think that's a very special plot. Do you agree? And it links with the tree we've just planted, because I believe this is part of the Queen's canopy, and that tree is part of the Queen's canopy that we planted from Liverpool to London. So it all fits together in a beautiful way. Now, there's the work that we did was to leave a lasting legacy to those who lost their sight in the Great War. So it all links together. Have you ever seen The Unknown Soldier? Nobody knows who the unknown soldier is. So nobody's going to know who the King's seeds are and who the St. Vincent's poppies are, all mixed together. And it all reflects how we just all together can go a long way together. We look after each other. Scouts, you know that, don't you? And I'm going to put this in this packet here, and I'm going to give you all a handful each and give it loads. Let's sow them here together. So everybody's got to have a little handful. Does that sound like a plan? Yeah.
So, what's your name, young lady?
My name's Emily.
And what are you going to do for us today?
So I am going to talk about our creativity here at school and how we can bring that to a performance in music in June at Olney, where we can also share the story of the Magic Bench, which two of my peers at school are going to talk about. And now I'm going to sing you a song.
Fantastic. Well, take it away. Thank you very much.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Beautiful.
But at St. Vincent's, we've got creative vision.
We're all born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. That was Pablo Picasso. And I think we've got to help our kids, all our kids, aim high in life. Not just high, but higher than high. We've got to help our kids find their passion, their art. So I'm Nick Causton. I'm just a dad. I'm co-founder of STEAM Co. One day maybe I'll be the CEO, I don't know. So STEAMco is a non-profit community enterprise that helps connect our kids with their art and our communities with their schools by running creativity days. And we want to get the whole community involved. We want people who've had kids, not had kids, got kids, whatever, to come and work with us to help us run these days.
It's magic! It's magical!
What inspired me? Well, I saw a talk by Sir Ken Robinson. I read half a book called What's the Point of School? On what we should be teaching our kids. And I went to Camp Bestial, which is really a Glastonbury for kids. And I thought, I want this in my kids' school. I've got a lovely little film my dad gave me of me when I was 1 and him with my first ever train set. And I show that to kids in schools all over the country. And how my dad gave me the greatest gift. He gave me my art. Because art is what we call it when what we do might connect us to somebody else. So art could be painting, it could be photography, it could be cooking, it could be coding, it could be dancing, it could be design, it could be DJing, it could be robots, it could be rockets. The fun, the excitement that we have making and firing rockets in schools is to be seen, to be believed.
This is the best day of my life.
This truck contains everything you need to run a creativity festival in a primary school. 30 coding kits with the BBC Microbit. We've got rocket making kits. We do cardboard challenge. We can do the egg drop. We've got a t-shirt printing machine so we can print I Love Art t-shirts. So the kids design their own logo, take a selfie. We've had thousands of posters of those done. That's with JR, French street artist JR. So we've got communities taking photos, and we sent them off to JR, and he's printed 1,000 of these off for us, which we're fly posting all over the country. So in lockdown, we got an Arts Council grant and we built a green screen TV studio. We've been live streaming events all summer. We did a 3-day Glastonbury event where we built a half-sized pyramid stage from cardboard and code and ran 3-day events. We had Martin and Gary Kemp. We had Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols on stage alongside community artists, dads and their kids. And we had a young lad from Leeds called Lenny who played his piano on stage, all virtual. And that's what we want to do. Lockdown's not going to lift in a hurry. And we're running festivals from a spare bedroom here in Paddington. But we need people involved. We want people to collaborate for creativity.
I think they're doing fantastic work to see. For me, collaboration is everything.
Elton John gave me the greatest gift. Actually, he made a film, I don't know if you saw it, with John Lewis, where basically he tells the story of how he was given a piano as a kid and worked hard and made literally $1 million. I saw that film, ripped it off, put our own subtitles on it, and Elton John retweeted it. It had 50,000 views in an hour, and I went on a 2-week UK tour from Cornwall all the way to Carlisle, showing that film, showing my train set film, talking to kids about art and creativity, letting off rockets, and inspiring schools across the country in our 12 days of Creative Christmas tour.
You've inspired one little boy in particular, a very quiet boy, and as that rocket shot into the air, we heard the words blast off come out of his mouth.
Innovation, technology, and dreams rocketing up to the sky.
The state education system, we have a lot of people feel it's been narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, focusing on teaching and testing of everybody. And some kids come out of the education system literally broken. 9 out of 10 schools in Britain have reported cutting the arts in some way or another, which is a real tragedy. And we're going to lose that cutting-edge creativity that made Britain so famous. Creativity is Great Britain, after all. The ideal future for me would be a whole load of these trucks on the road with passionate, enthusiastic, committed, creative people, helping connect kids with their art and communities with their schools all the way across the UK. As Albert Einstein said, imagination can take us anywhere. So here I am in Florence, Melly. I had an absolutely fantastic day today. I was here a couple of years ago. I met somebody at an education conference in Birmingham. I came up for some literacy work. And I'm back here today with this legend, Mr. Heaton. What did you think of that, Mr. Heaton, today?
I thought it was inspiring. The way you motivate children, you motivate and you're giving them possibilities, you're making their dreams come true. And we have our dreams, values all over the school. You achieve dreams, not just for some of our children today, grandparents, parents out there, they were inspired. They saw the rocket. They said, have you seen that? The parent who took your book home is going to read that tonight. We can't thank you enough, Nick. It was really, that's what education's about. It's creative, it's art, it's science, it's really pushing the children, challenging them to achieve. It's been a fabulous event.
Well, as you know, I mean, it's very special for me to be here in Everton. I've done worked with a few schools here, and I know Sir Ken Robinson's from around here. I mean,
yeah.
Creativity, what does that mean to you and your school and the community?
I think for our community, we're a very deprived community. And I think, again, it's sad the way a lot of creativity has gone out of education. And when you had Sir Ken Robinson involved, it was far more creative. You didn't have everything about league tables and everything being a narrow curriculum. Your organisation promote art, dance, music, science, literature. And isn't that what we're all about? Giving the community and giving our children a real education where you're preparing them for life, you're preparing them for the next stage in education, you're preparing them for the jobs of the future. Can't thank you enough. It's about community.
I've asked Virgin to get me a train ticket so that taxi driver can come to London to tell that story to an audience as the keynote speaker at the end of the day.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It could be better. There's one person I'd love to have there as well. What are you doing Saturday?
This Saturday? Nothing at the moment.
If I can get 2 tickets off Virgin, would you come to London and speak at that conference?
Of course I would. I would love to.
I'm going to put this microphone down. I'm going to shake your hand on this, Mr. Heaton.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean,
cheers, Nick. Yeah, listen.
Some people see a camper van. Us, it's a starship, our cardboard starship. Because as Einstein said, imagination can take us anywhere. And the other week, it took us to Liverpool to help launch the Save Our Subjects campaign with 30 other organisations who care about creativity in our schools. We live streamed performances by children from the city schools on a cardboard oil rig that we built in front of one of the schools and outside the Anglican Cathedral. Why an oil rig? Well, we've made another film about that with a lad called Teo that's been shortlisted for the Charity Film Awards, so look out for that. But for now, just see it as a beacon for the creativity revolution our children, our communities and our country need more than ever before. We've been calling it for years, but more and more people are now realising there's a creativity crisis brewing. As a former business secretary, Lord Heseltine has said, if you want an industrial strategy, start in primary schools. I'm Nick Corston. I'm just a dad, co-founder and wannabe CEO of STEAMco. 12 years ago, with a career in marketing, digital and innovation behind me, my life changed forever. Not only because I had a young family, but because I'd watched a TED Talk, read half a book and been to a festival. The TED Talk was the #1 TED Talk with over 350 million views by a Liverpudlian, Sir Ken Robinson, on how schools can kill creativity. I'm sure you've seen it. The book was by Professor Guy Claxton called What's the Point of School? And the festival was the family-friendly Camp Festival. Creativity has long been my lifeblood, my passion, my career, and I decided nobody was going to be teaching creativity out of my children. So I got together with some parents, teachers, business people and other creative carers in our school community, and we started running mini creativity festivals where the children got to choose from up to 20 creative thinking and doing activities, from making and firing paper rockets, from coding robots, cardboard crafting, rolling up newspapers for engineering projects, art and architecture. We had some fantastic TV coverage in the UK and newspaper coverage all over the world. 7 years ago, I ran an event at the Royal Institution in London to launch STEAMco as a non-profit community enterprise. To campaign for and to champion creativity, it really has been quite a journey. I was delighted when Sir Ken endorsed me for a TED Fellowship. I was recently chosen as one of the BBC's 100 Londoners for my work with creativity and community across the country, and was even shortlisted as a digital ambassador and for digital transformation in the Arts Council England Awards. But the big education challenge stopped me dead in my tracks to ask myself a few questions. How could I use the experiences and connections of the last few years? What lessons had I learned about what is needed, and when would be a better time to put all this into action than right now? Yes, now is the time. With more and more people realising how the curriculum has been narrowed and identifying the skills our kids will need not just to survive but to thrive in their futures. But teachers and schools can't and won't be doing it all. We need to be inspiring and helping kids learn out of school. And some kids aren't even in school anyway. Some are home educated and others have been excluded for various reasons. So my application is to put the team into STEAMco. I want to hire a person to work with me for the next few months and to build a bigger team by bringing communities and the country together for our children. We want to build and launch the Rocket Kids Club and get some STEAMsters on the road. If successful in the first round of this prize, we want to build and run the Rocket Kids Club, a weekly live stream show from our Starship, literally in school communities and cultural centres, working with the community. We want to feature children, creatives, and set creative activities. And then every week, the children upload their work onto an online platform for peer review. We want this to be a safe and constructive place where children and creative carers can create and share their creativity. If we go on to win the main prize, we'd be keen to build a physical presence for the Rocket Kids Club by putting 3 STEAMsters and pop-up Creativity Day art trucks on the road around the UK, costing around £50,000 each, which includes the STEAMsters' wages for the first year. These trucks contain everything they'd need to run activities in creativity sessions to connect with their communities in schools and fetes and festivals. The Rocket Kids Club will provide the launch pad for the creativity revolution that our children, our communities and our country still so desperately need.
I thought it was inspiring, the way you motivate children, you motivate the parents and everyone. You're raising the aspirations of those children, you're giving them possibilities, you're making their dreams come true.
When I grow up, I want to be an engineer.
You achieve dreams, not just for some of our children today, grandparents, parents out there, they were inspired. The parent who took your book home is going to read that tonight. We can't thank you enough, Nick. It was really, that's what education's about.
BBC Radio Shropshire. 7:47, a Shropshire school is preparing to launch a rocket this morning. The man behind the rocket launch is Ludlow's very own Nick Corsten. And Nick joins me on the programme. Good morning.
Here in Shropshire, in the Shropshire Hills, just above Church Stretton, birthplace of the first industrial revolution. So we're better to come to launch a creativity. Had the most fantastic day here today with the community of this school. We live streamed an all-school assembly from a cardboard Mars base camp in the school playground. We live streamed it from a green screen. I'm a Shropshire dad, a Shropshire lad, born and bred in Ludlow. And my journey with STEAMco was inspired in no small way by a film that my dad made of me and him when I was 1 and my first train set. A loop of track. He showed me how to make a bridge and use my imagination. I've been showing that to children in the school today. My mother's very ill at the moment, and she reminded me recently of the work that she did with my father and the rest of the community, summer arts and crafts play schemes, how they fundraised using roller discos all through the summer and spring to make the money to run that event. And today, in St Lawrence Primary School here in Church Stretton, we launched the Our Million 22 campaign because I want to inspire 1 million kids to aim not just high but higher than high, to put up to 22 of our STEAMco trucks on the road this year with people like me, mums, dads, creative carers, people who care about creativity, who care about children and who care about all our futures. After the assembly down at St Lawrence Primary School, we launched a direct rocket. But in our minds, we were launching that Starship. So whether you're in Shropshire or anywhere in the country, if you believe in creativity, children and all our futures, I hope you'll chip a quid in to our Creative Carer Patreon. Be a part of it.